Schools are finalizing their reopening plans and providing more information to parents and families. Superintendent Patty LaBarre sat down and discussed some questions that parents and community members have been asking regarding the Watertown City School District reopening plan.
So Cuomo said, I think yesterday, about how schools will now be required to be responsible for testing. Like, what resources or plans do you have in place for something like that, if that was to come along?
Where we're at as a district is there will be daily screening, and we're asking our parents to do that, starting off with some basic questions that you get when you go to most businesses in the area, such as, do you have a temperature? We're asking parents to take our kids' temperatures each day before school. And if it's 100 or more, children are asked to stay at home. But then the other questions: have you been exposed to anyone with COVID-19? And the regular list of the standard 4 or 5 questions. We're going to use the Parent Square app, where parents can do it all before a child even leaves for school. If they answer, no to all of those questions, they kind of get a green light, go to school. If they've answered red to any of those, there's an alert. It's a red light, stop sign. Please call your medical provider.
So when a parent commits to what their child is going to do, how long is that commitment? Is that until a couple months? Is that until the spring? Is that the whole year?
When we're asking parents to make that commitment, we're asking them to make that commitment for the entire school year. However, we are going to reevaluate at the end of January. That's through the end of the first semester. And we'll take a look at where we're at that point.
So if students were to choose a remote option, how will they still be kind of incorporated into the school community? Will they be allowed to play sports? Will they be allowed to be involved in extracurriculars? I know this is still to be announced, but right now with planning, how is that looking?
So I would let you and parents know that extracurriculars, whether you're a remote, let's say you opt for the remote only option and that's where you're at, you still would be able to participate in sports. And then as far as extracurriculars, we're still working through the final details of extracurriculars and sports and such. But as far as extracurricular goes, some of those may end up taking a more virtual format at this point anyway, as we slowly ease back into a normal schedule, if you will. So, sports, that's controlled by New York State Public High School Association. So we're waiting to see where they're at. Right now, they've delayed sports until September 21st. But if they decide to cancel fall sports, then we go with a modified schedule that starts after the first of the year. And it goes, all 3 seasons would be played from January through the end of the year. The other hot topics that I've heard a lot of people talk about is childcare. So we are right now, not trying to overwhelm families, but we certainly want to get a good handle on how many people would actually need childcare. And we're kind of waiting to see what the governor's decision is this week, because that could impact whether or not we would even need childcare. So right. Depending on what he says, then the next step is, if he does say, you're allowed to come back in person, we know for us, we can't do that 100%. So that's where the hybrid approach comes in.
So then going back to the hybrid model, for students and staff or faculty or anybody that might be more high risk or, need accommodations, what additional services and support are you looking into right now for those students or staff?
Any student that needs an accommodation needs to be in touch with our Committee of Special Education. That's a committee process that works through any student that may need, an IEP. So if they need an individual education plan that is for any specific need, they would work through the CSE department, and that would be the same protocol that we would follow in this situation. As far as staff and employees, that's, something that we're working through right now, figuring that out, if staff should need any accommodations and how that will look and how that will work out. Again, whenever you're looking at the educational plan for all of our students, it's about being equitable. And so those are all things that a lot of our staff actually did a lot of professional development this summer to try to figure out our new way of learning and our new lifestyle, if you will. and we have to look at each case, like I said, one at a time, and we may have to monitor and adjust for one particular student in a family based on that family's needs.
For the Watertown City School District, parents are being asked to submit their final decision for their students by August 11th. Final guidance from New York State is expected to be released August 7th. For ABC 50 Now, I'm Isabella Colello.